Have you ever experienced this? Someone asks you a very simple question in English. Something like, "What did you do today?" You know the answer. You understand the question. You have the words. But suddenly, your mind goes completely blank. You look at the person. You want to answer. You try to speak, but nothing comes out. And then, a few seconds later, the perfect answer suddenly comes into your mind. But it's too late. The conversation has already moved on. Have you ever felt like this? If your answer is yes, then I want you to listen carefully. Because your problem may not be that you don't know enough English. Your problem may be something completely different. You are translating too much. Yes, every time you want to speak English, your brain may be following a long process. First, you think in your native language. Then, you translate that thought into English. Then, you start checking your grammar. You ask yourself, is this sentence correct? Am I using the right word? Is my pronunciation okay? And while your brain is doing all of this, the conversation is moving forward. That's why you feel slow. That's why you hesitate. That's why sometimes you know English, but you still can't speak it. Imagine trying to have a normal conversation while translating every single sentence in your head. It would be exhausting. It would be like trying to drive a car while stopping every few seconds to read the instruction manual. You might know how to drive, but you would never move smoothly. And this is exactly what happens when you translate every sentence before speaking. But here's the good news. You can change this habit. And you don't need to memorize thousands of difficult words. You don't need to study grammar for 5 hours every day. And you don't need to wait until your English is perfect. You simply need to start training your brain in a different way. You need to slowly build a direct connection between your thoughts and the English language. Instead of thinking, "How do I say this in English?" You want your brain to slowly start thinking, "This is what I want to say." And then, just say it. For example, imagine you are sitting in your room. Don't think in your native language first. Don't translate. Just look around and say, "This is my room. This is my phone. I am sitting on my bed. I am watching a video. I am learning English." These sentences are simple, very simple, but that's exactly why they are powerful. You are teaching your brain something important. You are teaching your brain that English doesn't always need to come after translation. English can become the language you use to describe your real life. And I want you to understand something. You may have been learning English for 1 year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 5 years. You may know hundreds or thousands of words. But if you only learn English by reading, by watching, by memorizing, and by translating, you may still feel stuck when it's time to speak. Because speaking is not only about knowing English. Speaking is about using English. Think about a person who wants to learn how to swim. They can watch swimming videos every day. They can read books about swimming. They can memorize all the rules. But when they finally enter the water, they still need to move their body. The same thing happens with English. You can learn vocabulary. You can study grammar. You can watch English videos. All of these things can help. But at some point, you have to open your mouth and speak. Even if your English is not perfect. Even if your sentence is short. Even if you make mistakes. Because every time you speak, you are training your brain. You are training your mouth. You are training your confidence. And slowly, the process becomes easier. So today, I want you to forget one idea. Forget the idea that you must speak perfect English before you start speaking. No, you don't need perfect English. You need practice English. You need real English. Simple English. The kind of English you can use in your everyday life. And in this video, we are going to practice exactly that. Together, we are going to learn how to stop translating every thought in your head, how to start thinking in simple English, and how to become more comfortable speaking without fear. So stay with me, because in the next part, I'm going to show you exactly what happens inside your mind when you translate every sentence, and why this one habit may be the biggest reason you understand English but still struggle to speak it. And then, we are going to start breaking that habit one simple sentence at a time. Now, I want you to imagine a very common situation. You are talking to someone in English. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's someone you just met. And suddenly, they ask you a simple question. What do you like to do in your free time? You know the answer. You love watching movies. You love listening to music. Maybe you enjoy going for walks. You know exactly what you want to say. But then, your brain starts translating. First, you think about the answer in your own language. Then you search for the English words. Then you try to put those words into the correct order. Then you start thinking about grammar. And suddenly, you become nervous. You think, wait, is this sentence correct? Should I use this word? Maybe I should say it another way. And while you are thinking about all of this, the other person is waiting for your answer. Now you feel even more pressure. Your heart starts beating faster. You become more nervous. And suddenly, you forget everything. You finally say something like, I like. And then you stop. Does this sound familiar? If it does, don't worry. You are not alone. Millions of English learners experience exactly the same problem. They know English, they understand English, but they cannot use English quickly. And the reason is often not a lack of knowledge. The problem is the translation process happening inside their mind. Let's look at this process more carefully. Imagine I ask you, what did you eat for breakfast? If you are translating, your brain may work like this. First, you think about the answer in your native language. Then you search for the English word for the food. Then you think about the correct tense. Then you think, should I say I ate? Or should I say something else? Then you build the sentence. Then you check the grammar. Then you finally speak. That's a lot of work for one simple sentence. Now imagine doing this for every sentence during an entire conversation. Of course you feel tired. Of course you feel slow. Of course you become nervous. Your brain is doing too many things at the same time. And this is why I want you to understand something very important. The goal is not to translate faster. The goal is to translate less. That's the real change. You don't need to become a faster translator. You need to slowly train your brain to connect your thoughts directly to English. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you see a glass of water. If you are a beginner, maybe your brain first thinks about the word in your native language. Then you translate it. Then you say, water. But eventually, you want to see the water and immediately think, water. No translation, no extra step, just the object and the English word. Now imagine you are feeling tired. Instead of thinking in your native language, then translating, then saying, I am tired. You want to slowly create a direct connection. You feel tired, and your brain says, I'm tired. That's it. This is how you begin to think in English. And I want to make one thing very clear. Thinking in English does not mean you have to suddenly think in complicated English. You don't need to think, due to the overwhelming exhaustion I have experienced throughout the day. No, that's not necessary. You can simply think, I'm tired. You don't need difficult words. You need useful words. You don't need complicated sentences. You need sentences that you can actually use. This is where many English learners make another mistake. They believe that speaking fluently means using big vocabulary. They spend hours memorizing difficult words, words they almost never use. But then someone asks them a simple question, how was your day? And they don't know how to answer naturally. So I want you to remember this. Simple English is powerful English. If you can say simple things quickly and confidently, you are already making progress. For example, instead of trying to create a complicated sentence, say, I had a busy day. I'm tired. I went to work. I stayed at home. I watched a movie. I cooked dinner. These sentences are simple, but they are useful. And the more you use them, the faster they become automatic. Think about your first language. When you speak your native language, do you stop and think about every grammar rule? Probably not. You don't think, now I need to use the past tense. Now I need to choose the correct article. Now I need to check the sentence structure. You simply speak. Why? Because you have practiced the language for years. The words and patterns have become automatic. And that's exactly what we want to build with English. We want English sentences to become familiar. We want your brain to recognize them quickly. We want you to hear a question, understand it, and respond without spending 10 seconds translating everything. But remember, this doesn't happen in one day. You cannot force yourself to stop translating completely overnight. Instead, you have to reduce translation little by little. Start with small thoughts. Start with your daily life. When you wake up, think, I'm awake. When you get out of bed, think, I'm getting up. When you feel hungry, think, I'm hungry. When you drink water, think, I'm drinking water. When you leave your home, think, I'm going outside. These small sentences may seem too easy, but don't underestimate them. They are building something inside your mind. They are creating a direct connection between your life, your thoughts, and the English language. And now, I want you to try something with me. Look around you right now. Don't translate, just describe what you see. Maybe you see a phone. Say, this is my phone. Maybe you see a chair. Say, this is a chair. Maybe you are sitting. Say, I am sitting. Maybe you are watching this video. Say, I am learning English. Don't worry about your accent. Don't worry about your grammar. Don't worry about making mistakes. Just speak, because this is the beginning. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. And slowly, something interesting starts to happen. You begin to notice that you don't need to translate every single thought. You start remembering English phrases as complete ideas. You hear a sentence, and you understand the meaning directly. You want to say something, and English words begin to come naturally. That's the direction we are going. But there is one more important thing. Thinking in English is not enough. You also have to speak out loud, because if you only think, your mouth is not getting enough practice. Your brain may know the sentence, but your speaking muscles still need training. So from today, don't just practice English inside your head. Open your mouth, use your voice, speak slowly, speak simply, and speak every day, because the more you speak, the less you need to translate. And the less you translate, the more naturally you can speak. But now, we are going to take this one step further. In the next part, I will give you a simple think in English practice that you can do every single day. You can practice it in your room. You can practice it while walking. You can practice it while cooking. You can practice it while getting ready in the morning. And the best part? You don't need a partner. You don't need a teacher. You don't need expensive courses. You just need yourself, your voice, and a few minutes every day. So don't go anywhere, because now, we are going to stop talking about thinking in English and actually practice it together. Now, we are going to do something different. I don't want you to just sit there and listen to me. I want you to participate, because if you are watching this video only, you may understand everything I say, but understanding is not enough. This time, I want you to speak with me. So wherever you are right now, get comfortable. You don't need a notebook. You don't need a dictionary. You don't need to open Google. And you definitely don't need to worry about making mistakes. For the next few minutes, I want you to forget about perfect English. Forget about difficult grammar. Forget about translating. Just listen, think, and speak. Are you ready? Good. Let's begin. I want you to imagine that you have just woken up. You open your eyes. You look around your room. Now, don't translate. Just think in English. Say, I'm awake. Again, I'm awake. Very good. Now you get out of your bed. Say, I'm getting up. Again, I'm getting up. Now imagine you are walking to the bathroom. Say, I'm going to the bathroom. Very simple. Now you look in the mirror. What can you say? You can say, this is me, or I'm looking in the mirror. Now you wash your face. Say, I'm washing my face. You brush your teeth. Say, I'm brushing my teeth. You are not translating. You are simply describing what you are doing. And this is the first exercise I want you to practice every morning. Describe your life in English. That's it. You don't need to create a story. You don't need to use difficult words. Just talk about what you are doing. Now let's continue. Imagine you are getting ready for the day. Maybe you are choosing your clothes. Say, I'm getting dressed. Maybe you are looking for your shoes. Say, where are my shoes? You find them. Say, here they are. Maybe you are hungry. Say, I'm hungry. You go to the kitchen. Say, I'm going to the kitchen. You open the refrigerator. Say, I'm opening the refrigerator. You look inside. Maybe there is some food. Say, there is some food. Maybe there is nothing you want. Say, there is nothing I want. Do you see what we are doing? We are not sitting down and memorizing grammar rules. We are not translating long sentences. We are connecting English directly to our real life. You do something, and you describe it. You see something, and you name it. You feel something, and you express it. This is how you begin to make English part of your everyday life. Now, let's make it a little more challenging. I want you to imagine that you are leaving your home. You put on your shoes. You take your phone. You open the door. And now, I want you to speak. Say, I'm ready. I'm leaving home. I'm going outside. The weather is nice. Or maybe, it's very hot today. Or, it's cold today. Look around you. What do you see? Maybe you see a car. Say, there is a car. Maybe you see a person. Say, I can see a person. Maybe you see a tree. Say, there is a big tree. Maybe you hear something. Say, I can hear a car. Maybe you feel tired. Say, I'm feeling tired. Maybe you feel happy. Say, I'm feeling happy today. Do you see how easy this can be? You are training your brain to think in English without forcing yourself to think about English. Now, let's practice another powerful exercise. I'm going to give you a situation, and I want you to answer me. Remember, don't translate. Just use simple English. Imagine I ask you, what are you doing right now? You can say, I'm watching this video, or I'm practicing English, or I'm sitting in my room. Now, what if I ask you, how are you feeling today? You can say, I'm feeling good. I'm a little tired. I'm happy. I'm not feeling very well. There are many possible answers, and you don't need the perfect answer. You just need an answer. Now let's try another one. What did you do yesterday? Don't panic. Don't translate every word. Just say something simple. I went to work. I stayed at home. I watched a movie. I met my friend. I studied English. Simple, natural, useful. Now, I want you to notice something. Maybe you made a mistake while speaking. Maybe your grammar wasn't perfect. Maybe you forgot a word. That's okay. Don't stop. Keep going. This is one of the biggest secrets to becoming a better speaker. Don't let one mistake stop the whole conversation. Imagine you are speaking and you forget a word. What should you do? Should you stop? Should you become nervous? Should you immediately translate everything? No. Try another way. For example, you forget the word refrigerator. That's okay. You can say, the place where I keep my food. Maybe it's not the perfect sentence, but people can understand you. And that's what communication is about. You don't need to know every word. You need to learn how to keep speaking. Now, I want to give you a very simple daily challenge. Every day, choose 5 minutes, only 5 minutes. During those 5 minutes, speak only English. Talk about your life. Talk about your room. Talk about your plans. Talk about your feelings. Talk about what you did today. For example, today I woke up at 7. I was tired in the morning. I had breakfast. Then I went to work. Now I'm practicing English. That's your 5-minute practice. And if you don't know what to say, look around. There is always something to talk about. You can say, I'm sitting on a chair. My phone is on the table. The window is open. I can hear a car outside. I'm drinking water. It may feel silly at first. You may even feel uncomfortable. But that's completely normal. Remember, you are building a new habit. And every new habit feels strange in the beginning. The first day, you may translate a lot. The second day, you may still translate. The third day, you may notice a few sentences coming directly into your mind. And slowly, more sentences will come. That's progress. Don't expect magic overnight. Instead, look for small changes. Maybe today you can think in English for 30 seconds. Tomorrow, 1 minute. Next week, 5 minutes. Then 10 minutes. Little by little, English becomes less of a subject and more of a part of your life. So, let's do one final exercise together. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that you are walking through your home. You look around. You see your door. Say, this is my door. You see your phone. This is my phone. You see your bed. This is my bed. You sit down. I'm sitting down. You feel tired. I'm tired. You smile. I'm happy. You take a deep breath and say, I am learning English. Again, I am learning English. And one more time. With confidence, I can speak English. Very good. This is how you start. Not with complicated grammar. Not with thousands of difficult words. You start with your life. You start with your thoughts. You start with one simple sentence. And then another. And another. But there is something else we need to talk about. Because maybe you can practice alone. Maybe you can think in English. Maybe you can even speak to yourself. But when you meet a real person, everything suddenly changes. Your confidence disappears. Your mind becomes blank. You know the words, but you are afraid to use them. So in the next part, we are going to talk about one of the biggest reasons people never become confident English speakers. The fear of making mistakes. Because if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you may wait forever. So stay with me, because it's time to stop being afraid of imperfect English and start using the English you already know. Now, I want you to think about something. Imagine you are sitting in a room with someone who speaks English very well. They ask you a simple question. Where are you from? You know the answer. You have answered this question many times before, but suddenly, you become nervous. You start thinking, Is my grammar correct? Am I pronouncing this word correctly? What if I make a mistake? What if they laugh at me? And because you are thinking about all these things, you don't answer. Or maybe you answer with only one or two words. And then, after the conversation is over, you think about it again. You say to yourself, I knew the answer. I knew what I wanted to say. Why didn't I speak? This is the problem for so many English learners. They are not always afraid of English. They are afraid of making mistakes in front of other people. And I completely understand this feeling. Maybe you have experienced it yourself. You want to speak. You want to practice. You want to improve. But a small voice inside your mind says, wait until your English is better. Wait until you know more vocabulary. Wait until your grammar is perfect. Wait until your pronunciation is perfect. And so, you keep waiting. 1 week passes, then 1 month, then 1 year, and you are still waiting for the perfect moment to start speaking. But let me tell you something very important. That perfect moment will never come, because there is no such thing as perfect English. Even people who speak English very well make mistakes. Sometimes they forget words. Sometimes they say something incorrectly. Sometimes they change their sentence in the middle. And that's completely normal. So why do you expect yourself to speak perfectly? Why do you believe that you must know everything before you are allowed to speak? You don't. You are allowed to speak now, with the English you already have, even if it's simple, even if it's not perfect, even if you make mistakes, because mistakes are not proof that you are failing. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. Think about a child learning to walk. A child doesn't stand up for the first time and immediately walk perfectly. They stand. They take one step, they fall. Then they stand again. Another step, another fall. Do the parents look at the child and say, you are terrible at walking? No. They understand that falling is part of learning. And English is the same. You speak, you make a mistake, you learn. You try again, you speak again, and slowly, you become better. So I want you to change the way you think about mistakes. Instead of saying, I made a mistake, my English is bad, say, I made a mistake. Now I know what I need to improve. That's a completely different mindset, and it can change everything. Now, let's imagine you are talking to someone. You want to say, yesterday I went to the market, but you accidentally say, yesterday I go to the market. You realize your mistake. What should you do? Should you stop speaking? Should you become embarrassed? Should you think about the mistake for the next 10 minutes? No, just continue. You can simply correct yourself. Yesterday I went to the market. That's it. The conversation continues. Nobody died. Nothing terrible happened. You made a small mistake, and you kept speaking. That's what confident speakers do. They don't avoid every mistake. They don't know every word. They simply don't allow mistakes to stop them. And this is something I want you to practice. When you speak English, keep moving forward. If you forget a word, use another word. If you don't know a complicated expression, use a simple sentence. If your grammar isn't perfect, say it anyway. For example, maybe you want to say, I have been learning English for 3 years, but you don't remember how to use that grammar. That's okay. You can say, I started learning English 3 years ago, or even, I learned English for 3 years. Maybe it's not exactly the sentence you wanted to say, but you communicated your idea, and communication is the goal. You don't need to sound like a textbook. You need to make yourself understood. This is why I want you to stop trying to create perfect sentences. Start creating clear sentences. Instead of thinking, what is the most advanced way to say this? Ask yourself, how can I say this simply? This one question can make speaking much easier. For example, don't think, I need to describe my emotions in a sophisticated way. Just say, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm tired, I'm worried, I'm excited. Simple words, real communication. And the more you use these simple sentences, the more confident you become. Now, I want to tell you about a learner named Sarah. Sarah had studied English for years. She knew grammar. She had a good vocabulary. She watched English videos every day. But whenever someone spoke to her in English, she became nervous. She was always afraid of making mistakes, so she stayed quiet. One day, she decided to make a small change. She told herself, I don't need to speak perfect English. I just need to speak. The next day, someone asked her, how was your weekend? She was nervous. She wanted to give a perfect answer. But this time, she didn't wait. She simply said, it was good. I stayed at home and watched a movie. That's all. 3 simple sentences, but something changed that day. She realized, I can actually do this. The next time, she spoke a little more, then a little more, and slowly, her fear became smaller. Her English didn't suddenly become perfect. Her vocabulary didn't magically double, but her confidence started growing. And when confidence grew, she started speaking more. And when she spoke more, her English improved faster. This is the cycle I want you to create. Speak, make mistakes, learn. Speak again, improve. Speak again. That's how confidence is built, not before action, but through action. So if you are waiting for the day when you will finally feel confident enough to speak English, I want you to remember this. Confidence doesn't usually come first. Action comes first. You speak one sentence, then confidence comes. You speak another sentence, then confidence grows. You make a mistake and realize that nothing terrible happened. So you become a little braver. Then you speak again, and one day, you look back and realize, I'm not as afraid as I used to be. That is real progress. So today, I want you to make a promise to yourself. From now on, you will stop waiting for perfect English. You will stop being afraid of every mistake. You will stop translating every sentence before you speak. And instead, you will use the English you already know. Start small. Talk to yourself. Record your voice. Describe your day. Speak with a friend. Answer simple questions. And when you make a mistake, smile and continue. Because every sentence you speak is one step closer to fluency. And now, there is one final question. You know how to stop translating. You know how to think in simple English. You know how to practice alone. And you know that mistakes are okay. But how do you turn all of this into a daily habit? How do you practice English every day, even when you're busy? And how can you make sure that you don't lose motivation after 2 or 3 days? That's what we're going to do in the final part. I'm going to give you a simple daily routine, a routine you can follow even if you only have a few minutes. Because learning English isn't about studying hard for one day and then disappearing for a week. It's about showing up again and again and again. So stay with me, because in the final part, we're going to turn everything you've learned today into a simple routine that you can start right after this video ends. Now, we have reached the final part of our practice. You already know the problem. You understand why translating every sentence can make speaking feel slow and difficult. You have practiced thinking in simple English. You have learned that you don't need perfect grammar to communicate. And you have learned something even more important. You don't need to wait until you are confident to start speaking. You start speaking, and confidence grows along the way. But now comes the biggest question. What should you do after this video? Because watching one English lesson is not enough. You may feel motivated right now. You may think, yes, I'm going to practice every day. But then tomorrow comes. You become busy. You forget. The next day, you have no time. And after 1 week, you are back where you started. So today, I want to give you a simple routine. A routine that doesn't require hours of study. A routine that you can do at home. A routine that can help you practice speaking, even if you don't have an English-speaking partner. And most importantly, this routine is designed to help you slowly stop translating in your head. Let's call it the No Translation Daily Routine. And you can start it today. You don't need 1 hour. You don't need 2 hours. Start with just 15 minutes a day. That's all. 15 minutes. But you have to use those 15 minutes correctly. Let's break it down. Step 1. 2 minutes of thinking in English. The first thing you will do is simple. For 2 minutes, don't speak. Just think. Look around you. Look at your room. Look at the things around you. And describe them in your mind. Say, this is my phone. This is my chair. My window is open. I'm sitting on my bed. I'm feeling tired. I'm watching a video. Don't translate. Don't try to create complicated sentences. Just think in simple English. If you notice yourself translating, don't worry. Simply come back to English. Try again. Remember, you are training your brain. And like every type of training, it takes time. Step 2. 3 minutes of speaking. Now, it's time to use your voice. Set a timer for 3 minutes and speak. Talk about your day. You can start with, today I woke up at, then continue. I had breakfast. I went to work. I stayed at home. I talked to my friend. I watched a video. I felt tired. I am learning English. Don't stop every few seconds to correct yourself. Keep going. If you make a mistake, continue. If you forget a word, use a simpler word. If you don't know what to say, describe what you see. The goal is not perfect English. The goal is continuous speaking. You are teaching your brain, I can think and speak in English without stopping every second. And that's a very powerful skill. Step 3. 5 minutes of shadowing. Now, I want you to choose a short English video. It could be a video from this channel. It could be a simple English lesson. It could be a short conversation. Choose something that is easy enough for you to understand. Now, don't just watch it. Listen to one sentence. Pause the video and repeat the sentence. For example, the speaker says, I'm going to the market. Pause. Now you say, I'm going to the market. Again, I'm going to the market. Try to copy the speaker. Copy the pronunciation. Copy the rhythm. Copy the way the words connect. This practice is called shadowing, and it can help you become more comfortable with the natural rhythm of spoken English. You are training your ears and your mouth at the same time. Do this for 5 minutes, not 30 minutes, not 1 hour, just 5 minutes, but do it consistently. Step 4. 5 sentences about your day. Now, before you finish your practice, I want you to say 5 sentences about your day. You can say, today I learned something new. I practiced speaking English. I made some mistakes. I didn't understand everything, but I will keep practicing. These sentences don't have to be perfect. They just need to be yours. And tomorrow, create 5 new sentences. The day after tomorrow, 5 more. After 1 week, you will have dozens of sentences that you have created yourself. And slowly, you will notice something. You will start remembering phrases. You will start recognizing patterns. And you will start using English more automatically. Now, let me tell you something very important. Don't try to change your entire life in 1 day. Don't say, from tomorrow, I'm going to study English for 5 hours every day. Maybe you can do it for 1 day. But can you do it for 30 days? Probably not. Instead, make your goals smaller. 15 minutes every day. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Even if you're busy, do something, because consistency is more important than intensity. Imagine 2 learners. The first learner studies English for 3 hours on Sunday, and then does nothing for the rest of the week. The second learner practices for 15 minutes every day. Who do you think is building the stronger habit? The second learner, because English is becoming part of their daily life. And that's what I want for you. I don't want English to be something you only study. I want English to become something you use. Use it when you wake up. Use it when you're walking. Use it when you're cooking. Use it when you're alone. Use it when you're thinking. Use it when you're describing your day. The more English becomes part of your real life, the less you will feel that you are studying English. And eventually, you may notice something amazing. One day, you will be walking down the street, and suddenly, you will think something in English without translating. You will see something, and the English word will come naturally. Someone will ask you a question, and you will answer before your brain has time to translate. And you will stop and think, wait a minute, I just spoke English naturally. That moment may not happen tomorrow. Maybe it won't happen next week. But if you keep practicing, it will come closer. So don't focus only on the final destination. Focus on today's practice. 1 sentence today, 5 sentences tomorrow. 5 minutes of speaking, a few minutes of listening. A little thinking in English. Small steps, every single day. And remember, you don't have to become perfect. You just have to become a little better than yesterday. If yesterday you could speak for 1 minute, today try for 2. If yesterday you knew 10 useful sentences, today learn 5 more. If yesterday you were afraid to speak, today say 1 sentence anyway. That's progress. And now, I want you to do something for me. Don't close this video and simply say, that was a good lesson. Don't just watch, take action. Right now, after this video, look around you, choose 1 object, and describe it in English. Then choose another, and another. Speak for 1 minute, then tomorrow, come back and do it again. Because your English will not change because you watched 1 video. Your English will change because you used what you learned. So if you are serious about improving your English, I want you to make a promise to yourself, not to me, to yourself. Say, I will stop translating every sentence. I will start thinking in simple English. I will speak even when I make mistakes. I will practice every day. And most importantly, I will not give up. If you believe that, write this sentence in the comments. I will start speaking today. Write it. And when you write it, make it a promise to yourself, because your English journey doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start when your grammar becomes perfect. It doesn't start when you learn thousands of words. It starts with the sentence you speak today. So, stop translating. Stop waiting. Stop being afraid of every mistake. Start with one word, then one sentence, then another. And slowly, your thoughts will become English. Your words will become easier. Your confidence will become stronger. And one day, you will realize you are no longer translating everything in your head. You are simply thinking. You are simply speaking. You are simply communicating naturally, confidently, in English. So keep practicing, keep speaking, keep going. And remember, you don't need perfect English to start speaking. You need to start speaking to improve your English. If you enjoyed this lesson and want to continue practicing with me, subscribe to the channel and join me in the next lesson. Until then, keep listening, keep thinking, keep speaking, and most importantly, don't translate, just speak. I'll see you in the next lesson.